What's up, y'all? It's your host, Taylor. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Dirty Napkins. Today, we're at Filter Coffee House down in Raymond, Mississippi. I hear the tea is great and the sandwiches are even better. We'll be having a conversation with Jason Gibson. He's an entrepreneur and motivational speaker. Tune in. Let's go get some napkins dirty.
Come on down to
Filter Coffee House.
And we are located in Raymond, Mississippi, right next to Sunflowers. And our hours are from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday, and Saturdays from 10 to 2. And we serve panini sandwiches, iced coffee, lattes, cappuccinos, frappes, and salads. So come on down and get you some good coffee and some good food. Bye.
So Jason, man, nice to see you again.
What's going on, man?
It's been, what, like a month since we sat down last time?
Yeah, a little over a month.
This time it's a little more official. We got cameras out this time.
Yeah, man. I mean, I didn't think I was ready. I wasn't ready for the cameras and all the.
Oh, yeah?
I'm shy.
I thought you were gonna have, you shy?
Huh?
You shy?
I am.
Bro.
I'm very shy.
No, I wouldn't say that. I'll let you get into that. But so let's talk a little bit about you. Obviously, I know who you are, but some of the people who watch it may not know. But so let's start there. Who is Jason Gibson?
I'm Jason Gibson. I'm a native of Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay.
Born and raised here, a product of Jackson Public Schools.
How was that experience?
How was that experience? It was great. If you can make it through Jackson Public Schools, you can make it through the world.
I got you.
So,
I got you.
You know, I mean, a lot of experiences came along with that, but graduated from there, took a full basketball scholarship to Holmes Community College. I graduated from there, went on to Jackson State University where I got my bachelor's and my master's. Yeah, we can just go from there. I don't want to give a whole bio.
That's good. No, that's good.
I hate talking about myself.
That's enough. Humble guy. So you hate talking about yourself. So, well, I'll do a little bragging for you. So, right, obviously you're an entrepreneur. You want to talk about some of your entrepreneurial ventures?
Yeah. So
let's start with your gym. I mean, I think that's kind of what you're most popular for right now. Sounds like maybe. So let's start there.
Okay. Yeah. So on the gym. I'm in with two business partners by the name of Explicit J3 Fitness. We're in our third year of business. Business is going well. Okay. A lot of, turbulent times to get that gym open into the place it is now, but, it has been an amazing experience, and I'm just so grateful to be a part of it with such great individuals.
So let me ask you, in reference to the gym, you said it was some turbulence when you guys were trying to get it open. What were some of the challenges that you faced? And you don't have to tell us about all of them, but just some of the more prominent ones.
Oh man, it was plenty. Well, we actually we were about to buy a brand from a lady who one of my business partners was previously working for in the same space. Long story short, at the time, I really didn't see the point of buying the brand because I thought they were more so there, the clients who were there were more so there for my business partner at the time. But, we were just trying to be copacetic and, just do everything in excellence with our business dealing. So, man, we almost had about $20,000 stolen from us.
Oh, wow. Like somebody kind of ran
No,
into
we were paying her for the brand and to transfer the lease over, which when I think now and as I've grown in business, it just wasn't a smart business move. We were paying her, come to find out, I just always have questions. So come to find out, she was about $14,000 in debt with that building. She had not paid rent. And the landlord for that property thought that we were working with her, so he was going to credit all of that to us to pay back, when it transferred over into our name. So basically she was trying to transfer all the utility debt, all the debt over into our names. And man, it was just divine. We got a call from a lady in the process of that deal, and you know, that just told us everything that she was doing while the check was on its way to her. So had she cashed it, we would have been messed up. But she didn't. We caught it. We got a reverse, and we cut ties with her immediately.
That's an interesting story. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never throughout my process of researching your gym, I never saw that anywhere. So that's kind of exclusive. Sounds like, but
It was.
But so going into another one of your ventures, you mentioned to me when we were talking before the show that you have a single coming out Friday.
Oh yeah,
is that right?
Yeah.
It's titled Grace, right?
Grace.
You want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah. So I'm releasing a single this for September 25th, 2020, which is this coming Friday. And yeah, man. So I've been in gospel recording artists since about 2011. But you know, just as time has progressed and as I've kind of unfolded into more of the things that I'm purposed to do, you know, I've kind of gotten away from music. So, you know, I think I write music according to where I am presently in life. And you know, that song just kind of came. I wrote it last year, and I was like, man, I think it's time. I hadn't released music in a couple years. I think it's time.
What got you? Since you said it sounds like you may have not been in a space to write music. What kind of got you out of that funk, and I guess also what put you in that funk?
It wasn't necessarily a funk.
Okay.
I never stopped writing music.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm always writing, like, you know, just whatever. If God wakes me up in the middle of the night and I have a song in my heart, you know, I'll, you know, record it in my phone and go back to sleep, or I'll write it on the pad beside my bed. But I think what got me away from actually executing it is, you know, I just started to venture off into different business endeavors. You know, I got older, you know, I got into grad school, the gym came, different things that started to transpire over time that kind of where I had to deviate from that for a season.
Okay. And in there you said something, I mean, that kind of segues us perfect. You said you hadn't executed, right?
Yeah.
So in the last time we sat down, we had an interesting conversation around like your brand, Pray, Plan, Execute.
Yeah.
I want to get you to talk a little bit about that for the people watching today. How you said it's moreover than a brand, you're trying to sell a lifestyle.
Absolutely.
Right? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So PPE Apparel is a clothing brand that I started in August of 2019, so we just made over a year. And you know, man, I always wanted to start a clothing line because I'm naturally I just dress down. I hate dressing up. I hate suits. I hate ties.
I got you.
I just, you know, all of those things that they told us, you know, in order to be professional, you have to look like this. I just like to be
So it's comfort over everything for you.
Absolutely.
I'm the same way, man. I'm not a brand guy. It's comfort over everything.
Listen, so about a year ago, man, I was in the process of trying to complete my thesis for my master's program. And basically, I had finished all my coursework and I had stopped going to grad school in 2018, leading into 2019 for a year. And I was just like, man, you know, I'm in entrepreneurship now. I don't need these degrees, but I promise it was one night I was sleeping and I woke up and like the Lord kind of impressed something on my heart. He was like, you know, I put a lot of things in your hand that you did not finish. It's a lot of works in your hands that you should have completed, but you haven't. So that degree was one of those things, but I did not want to write that thesis.
Okay.
So I was like, man, I got to put a plan in place where I can write this thesis so I can go and get this degree, and you know, whatever I do with it, I'll do with it. But I was like, man, I need to pray. I need to put a plan together. I just need to execute that. And literally when I said it, it was like a light bulb went off.
And
I was talking to myself.
From.
I have a lot of conversations with myself. So I was talking out loud to myself, and when I said it, it was like, man, pray, plan, execute. I love that. Let me write that down. And that's where it came from.
And I think it's interesting too. You said, you know, in the last time we talked again, like you said, as Christians, right? A lot of times you stop at the pray portion of it. You just said, quote, God, take care of it now for me, or something along those lines. Like, what do you think that like?
Absolutely, man. I grew up in a very charismatic church and I've always been an inquisitive individual. I've always had a lot of questions as to why this, why that, why do you do this, why don't you do that, why do we have this, why don't we have that? Like, so, you know, I think I was kind of labeled as somewhat of a problem child growing up because my brother is very reserved. He doesn't talk much at all, like super, just a melancholy type guy. My sister, Me and her have some similarities, but she's not as overtly, direct as I am. So with me, I always had questions. Came up in church, and I used to always, ask like, Mama, why these folks around here like running and shouting, and we talking about these blessings and stuff, and all them broke. Like, you tell they broke because they come here talking about money every week, man, and how they wait on the Lord. And like, I could never get an adequate answer. Even her answer was like, the Lord is gonna do it in due time. I'm like, answer was like, the Lord when is gonna happen? So I mean, just as I grew up, man, I started to clean the scripture and saw how, God actually gives us the responsibility to do certain things. And he gives us certain ramifications by which we can hone into certain gifts, talents, and abilities that can propel us into like a future that we all, like, I think everybody imagines, which is a future of prosperity, wealth, and, just comfort. So, certain scriptures I just cling to. Faith without works is dead. Like, a lot of us have faith. We'll pray about it. God, do it, please do it. I know you can do it. Yes, you can. But where's the works part of it? Like, so those two have got to commingle, and they have got to marry in order for you to reach the fullness of what God has for you.
Well, and I think too, to have you add some more, you said one time, I can't remember where, I think it may have been on Twitter, you said something along the lines of one of your favorite scriptures, something your mom told you. You also said it was like some of her best advice that she gave you, and I think it was be faithful over a few things and he'll make you ruler over.
Yes.
Yeah, what is it?
Be faithful over a few things and I'll make you ruler over many. And I think that's just kind of that's just the language of God. If we be faithful over the things that he has granted us, given us access to, and he sees that he can trust us with certain things, he will give us more. Like, the first thing that comes to mind is King David. Like, King David was literally a shepherd. He was a sheep herder. And his job every day, like, if you know anything about sheep, like, they were stanky. Like, it was not the ideal job. It was the lowliest. I don't know much about sheep, but I guess it was the lowliest of lowly jobs that anybody could have back in those days. And he did it. He did it faithfully. Like, he loved those sheep. He made sure they were taken care of, made sure they were bathed, made sure they were fed. Like, he did that for years. And he did that. And then so a prophet came and was like, it's a king here, but, and his daddy, even his dad was like, I got 7 sons right here. All of them look the part. All of them, have all the attributes. They're competent enough to be king. But, the prophet was like, nah, it ain't none of them. Like, do you have another son? He was like, well, I got the one back there who...
They be messing with the sheep.
They be messing with the sheep. And then, so he was like, yeah, bring him to me. He was like, this is the one. And then even after that process, David was faithful over those sheep. So then he had to go face Goliath, which was the biggest battle he ever had.
So this is the same David?
Yeah, same David.
Okay.
Like, he had to go face Goliath, which was the biggest battle up to that date that he ever had to fight. But then David was like, when people used to come, when animals used to come and try to get my sheep, like, I slayed bears, I slayed lions, I slayed all these other animals that try to get this, because this is what God gave me to steward and be faithful over. And because I was faithful over that, this giant ain't no different. Yeah. I've been doing this all my life. So with no problems, this sheep herder eventually became the king of Israel. So, I mean, I think that's a beautiful picture of what it looks like, where God will give us certain things, and he's just saying, if you be faithful over the sheep, like, I'll make you the king. Like, I just want to see you faithful on one level, and I want you to allow that to contribute to where I'm taking you.
Well, and I think too, Jason, in so many ways, man, that makes a lot of sense, because in more practical terms, right? Like, be faithful over, and I think this is something you kind of expounded on Instagram one time. You were like, be faithful over the more practical things. Like, be faithful over, if you're a writer, write. If you're a reader, read. If you're a painter, paint. You know what I'm saying? Be faithful over kind of living out those daily traits or whatever. So.
And I think that has been the truth for my life. Wherever I am, I'm going to be faithful over that. Even when I was an employee at Jackson State, the job I was doing, I was working in the print shop at Jackson State.
I don't think I knew that. I didn't know you were.
I was working at Tiger Prints. Okay. Like, literally, we were doing all the print for the university, but there's probably not an employee you can talk to at Jackson State that didn't have a good experience with me, because I treated that job so seriously, even though I probably felt like it wasn't directly parallel to my purpose, even though I felt like it was a waste of time at sometimes, or I could be doing something else or something different. Like, it's like it's not always gonna be comfortable or feel right, but just be faithful over it, and it'll contribute to the greater good.
I got you. So that's a good way to phrase that. You said something in there that I want to have you expound on a little bit. You talked some about how even if it didn't necessarily align with your purpose, you still took it serious. So
Absolutely.
Let's talk about purpose a little bit, right? Like, you know, I think there's a conversation around how does one, no, you're fine. I think there's a conversation around how does one find purpose, right? For me. Oh, I'm sorry. No, you're fine.
Oh, you found the Crocker. Come on,
She hooked you up.
Come on, girl. I'll be back.
You need some more space over there, bro?
No, you good.
Sure?
I just want to taste this real quick.
You good.
Lord, thank you for this food. Bless it. Amen.
So I think I may adopt that prayer right there.
That's
You
it.
like it? Good. So
Yeah, man.
And if you want to take another bite, go for it, man. I'll do a little talking here, but just
Tell me twice.
just around purpose a little bit, right? Like there's a conversation that we had for my blog personally, and in that conversation, man, I'm super excited to get it out because you did a really good job articulating like how someone finds purpose or some practical ways people can go about finding purpose. And what I want to have you talk on a little bit for us is you said something along the lines of find purpose and focus will find you.
Yeah.
Right, or you also said something along the lines of, and I'm paraphrasing, but you also said something along the lines of passion is just kind of simply finding out, asking yourself what you like, and then doing more of that.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. So I do absolutely believe that purpose is wrapped all up in whatever you're passionate about. Like, and I think people so often feel like their passions aren't lucrative enough. They feel like their passions aren't I guess popular culturalized enough. They feel like their passions can't sustain them. But like I'm a firm believer that purpose is nothing but passion cultivated. Like so like with that said, man, like for me, like I always just had a gift of, like being a visionary or seeing like big picture things or, seeing that. But then when I figured that out at a young age that I had that gift, it became my job to try to find or connect to people or connect to environments or connect to things that would help me to bring those visions into fruition. So, yeah, man, for me, like I think short answer, I think purpose is passion cultivated. So find what you're passionate about and you will just haphazardly stumble on your purpose.
Sure. And I think that's a really good way to think about it because so many people have this question of how do I find purpose, right? And I think a lot of times that's where a lot of like midlife crises come for. People feel like whatever it is they're doing, that work isn't connecting with them. It's like, I feel like I'm meant to do more than this, but people never know where to look. So your answer to those people is look within yourself. Look at what it is that you enjoy to do and do more of that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then a lot of the things is, now I love our, oh man, do I want to say this on camera?
Yeah, you do.
I love our school systems, but I don't think our school systems render themselves to helping people to find purpose.
Can you explain a little bit?
I think the school system trains us to be workers. It trains us to work for somebody else. It trains us to measure benchmarks and core standards and things of that nature. All of these things that contribute to making somebody else something better. So with that said, very little of what I deal with in my everyday entrepreneurial life, very little of those skills came from the public school system. Like it literally came from surrounding myself around people who were in positions that I aspired to be in. And from there, just learning from trial and error. Because like I don't even recall learning I might have learned how to write a check in school. But not this. But no, I don't remember hearing about credit scores or private money lenders or equity or I don't remember hearing about any of the things I deal with now.
And now that's an interesting point. I just
residual income, like
yeah. I just interviewed another guy who's a financial guy, and he's kind of making a point, not so much along the lines of your point around the school system, but he was making a point of the school systems failed to do kids, and black kids in particular, a disservice by not teaching them financial literacy, right? By not the same things you just named, by not teaching them about credit scores, by not teaching them about how credit cards work, about equity and things like that. We're kind of unintentionally starting them off wrong. What were your thoughts around? What are your thoughts around that, rather?
Man, I co-sign 100%. I don't think we do a good job at that, but I understand that it's a system, and and you just gotta buy into the system to an extent. But I think that falls back into the households. Like, parents have to be a whole lot more intentional about giving their children these skills, so that they can be some level of relevant to society when they get there. But I do know. I know for me, I didn't know any of this stuff. And then you got a lot of our parents, then that falls into generational behaviors, you can say curses, I guess, generational, just systems. A lot of our parents put some of these things in our names, and then we're already graduating college and have never had a credit card, but we in the 300-400s because mama put a credit card that she ain't paid on in 5 years in my name. So it's just this holistic, it's just like a holistic impression that it's kind of bombarded the black community, that I think that we are slowly kind of phasing out of, but it's gone. It takes time.
I want to talk about something too. You said last time we talked, I asked you a question around how you like to improve people, and you said you like to improve people mentally, right? You do that through kind of like your motivational speaking things, your inspirational talks, also fitness, obviously through your gym that we touched on.
Right.
But then spiritually, obviously, you're Christian, you've kind of provided us with a lot of context around that. But there's a question I have for you about mental reconciliation. You said one thing that you hate that is not preached is that you don't need mental peace or mental reconciliation to move forward in life, to kind of continue to progress. And you alluded to maybe you and your father not having the best relationship in maybe your earlier years. Could you talk about the importance of mental?
I said you don't need.
You don't something along the lines of you don't like to hear that you don't need mental.
Oh, I don't like to hear that I don't need. Okay, I've been saying that. I know I ain't saying you don't need mental reconciliation. Man, I definitely think I become and I probably should be more demonstrative in my, my stance on this, but I've become somewhat of a silent advocate for mental health.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just because, I've seen how certain behaviors in my family structure, even though I came up in a nuclear family, the numbers are, astronomical as far as 7 to 8%. If you come up in a 2-parent household, black family, you're 8-9 times more likely to succeed, all those numbers. So, that's been true for me. But there's some level of trauma that comes along with just, the idea or the actual reality of coming up in a black family. And it took that mental reconciliation to get me to notice some of those behaviors. So with me, something that I wasn't aware of, but all through my life, and I kind of see myself kind of doing it a little bit now, is I always have a lot of stuff going on. And sometimes when I have a lot of things going on, I never complete things that I'm doing, but it's always, dabbling in something different, dabbling in this and that. And it wasn't until I started going to therapy that my therapist helped me work through that, and he was just like, we talking about why I'm into so much stuff, and then he's like, man, how's your relationship with your father? And then we just got to talking about that and unfolding that, and he was talking about the level of affirmation that my father would give me, and which, quite frankly, wasn't much. He was there, he was around, but he wasn't necessarily present. And I mean presence in the sense of mentally, emotionally, spiritually.
Sure. And so, you needed that.
Yeah, absolutely. And now I see why now. So, he brought me to the understanding that maybe the reason why you're clinging to so many things and you're always trying to find the next thing and achieve the next goal is because there's a level of affirmation that you never got from somebody that was really valuable to you, and you're seeking that affirmation from any source that could possibly give it to you, but the fact of the matter is you'll never get it because it's just one affirmation that you need, but you just never got it. And I was like, dang, I sure ain't never heard my daddy say he loved me. So I literally went and made my daddy about 3 years ago. I was like, man, you ain't never told me you love me, and I'm 25. I was like, and you ain't never told me you was proud of me. Like, you never told me, like, I never heard this from you. You know, I could speculate that you were, but like that.
I want to hear it.
Actually verbalizing it makes so much of a difference, and I don't think a lot of people notice it, and it reflects through their behavior. So, I'm a definite proponent. What's the name of the place?
Yeah, it's good, man. It's good. Filter. It's out in Raymond. But yeah. But how you like it?
It was true. And I asked her, was the chicken dry? And she said no.
You asked her, was the chicken dry?
I did. I was like,
you really are direct.
I
Like,
said, look,
you get straight to it.
If the chicken dry, I don't want it, but give me turkey. But she said it was moist.
Yeah, the turkey was right. So you got the chicken?
Boom. Yeah, the chicken, something.
So let me ask you a quick question then. Just, I guess, kind of in the current environment that the world is in. You got, I don't think a lot of people know this, but you got a degree in history, right? Mm-hmm. But what more specifically, you had like a specific niche, right? What was that?
Civil rights history.
Civil rights history. I didn't want to butcher that, man. So what do you think the importance of civil rights history? Obviously, we know what that's a time about, but what do you think the importance of supporting Black-owned business is?
Oh, man, I think it is extremely important, especially in a place where you have a dynamic like Jackson. Mm-hmm. Jackson, and the numbers just went up, is about 82.02% Black. And in a culture like that, with a dynamic like that, if you just think, if we can get all of the African American people in this area to support each other by way of, and we even, play with the idea, and I think that platforms like this can more inform that, but getting some level of a directory of all Black-owned business that do things, if we could just circulate our money and our wealth in our community, man, I think that could solve so many problems. Like, it could solve the problem of homelessness. Low-income family can move up to the middle class. It could solve the problem of the education system would be better if we could just get people to just support each other within our community. Like, it's so many streamline effects that can, become better if, people would just support Black-owned businesses.
Yeah, and I definitely think, to your point, I had no idea. I mean, I knew Jackson was super Black, right? Mm-hmm. But I had no idea that it was like 82% now. Because when you say that, I mean, it was a stat that I saw somewhere, and I'm about to butcher this, so don't take me literally on this. But it was talking about in reference to how long the dollar stays in the Black community.
Oh, yeah.
Black community comparatively to like the Jewish community or the white community, whatever, what have you. And I think for a city like Jackson, if we start pouring back into the city like that, I think that'll kind of help us start to bring it back, build it back, you know what I mean, and kind of keep it flourishing and supporting it. So that said, what is your influence with Jackson? Like, what do you? And influence isn't the question I want to ask. Moreover than anything, what are your thoughts on the city? Like, where do you see the city headed, and like what has you excited, etc.?
I think that, Jason, filter your thoughts because you don't want to say the wrong thing. I think Jackson has a lot of potential.
Okay.
I think that our leadership has extraordinary potential. And we can do great things if we come together. I'll leave it there.
Fair enough, man. So what are some spots then? I know you mentioned the food here, but just in general, I mean, the show is Dirty Napkins. So what are some spots in general? Yeah, you got plenty. I got some back here too somewhere. We got like dirty napkins everywhere. But in general, like, what are some spots you like in Jackson? It doesn't necessarily have to be Black owned, but just in general, some spots you like.
I was gonna say, does it have to be Black owned? Yeah. I'll start with Black owned. I love 4th Avenue. I love 4th Avenue Lounge. I love Johnny T's. I love Godfrey's.
I've never eaten there before.
Godfrey's is my go-to. Oh my God, it's a new Caribbean restaurant over off Tier Road, and they in the hood too. Oh goodness gracious.
Godfrey's.
I feel like the restaurants in the hood got the best food.
Always best barbecue, like everything, man.
Boston's, it ain't black on, it's colored on though. Like,
Boston's,
they're people of color.
I got you.
But outside of that, I think my go-to through playoff season, because it is playoff season. I'm a huge basketball fan. Has been Fourth and Goal. So I don't have a favorite team. My favorite player is Russell Westbrook. He really disappointed me in these playoffs.
Yeah.
So
tough loss.
I'm kind of
quick loss too.
I'm with the Lakers now. Yeah. I really want to see LeBron. I've become a fan of LeBron over the years, just by way of the things he does off the court. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, he is he's done some phenomenal things. You know, so.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm pulling for the Lakers.
Well, good, man. Well, I like LeBron too. I want to see him get another one. Obviously, you know, I'm a Mavericks fan, by the way.
Luka has been out of his mind.
You know, the producer KP was the one who told me to start watching him. He's like, hey man, you need to start watching Luka, and from that point, I kind of just became like the biggest fan.
Listen,
but man, I'm not gonna hold you much longer. I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. I guess kind of in the spirit of closing this. Is there anything that we've talked about that you'd like to end this on, right? That for the people watching, like any type of advice, anything you can lend to help them right now?
Anything I can lend to help people right now. In lieu of this pandemic, you know, something that has disrupted all of our lives, something that has literally changed the trajectory of like the things and the goals that we may have set forth for ourselves. I know for me, well, I really can't speak for me because 2020 has been the best year of my life. But I think the best thing that you can find now is yourself. I think that now is the prime opportunity and the prime time for you to become so acclimated to who you are, and hone into cultivating your gifts, your talents, your abilities, because one thing that we probably haven't had in the past that we have a lot of now is time. And I don't believe time is money, but I do believe time is precious. So make use of it. Make use of it.
Well, man, that's all I have for you. So I'll end it on this, man. Let's do a nice little cheers to your green tea, my water, brother. Take it easy.
No, I have a lot.
What you got?
I forgot. Chai tea. Shout out to Matthew Donaldson for recommending this.
Oh, and just FYI, I don't think I said the name of the restaurant clearly enough. We're at Filter Coffee House. I don't have the address or anything like that. But
it's black on, right?
It is black on.
Black on?
And the service and the customer service and the food and the drinks has been phenomenal.
Listen.
So I would highly recommend it.
Absolutely. Me too.
All right, man. Well, be safe. Until next time, man.
All right, man. Y'all, do you hear that? I know y'all hear. I'm not the only one that can hear that. Yes, my song "Grace" by Jason Gibson and Destiny Project, featuring Matthew Donaldson, is out right now on all digital media outlets. You can go to iTunes, Spotify, Amazon. Y'all, my song is even on TikTok. Look, go download it right now. I sincerely appreciate it. I already know y'all gonna go get it. Tag me, post it, share it. Look, let's get this song, get this message out. I love y'all. Thank you in advance.